and a lot of people are listening, and have them come and visit us, because there's so much to visit. And yes, you hear this awful twang that I have, and it's not Southern, it's South Side of Chicago Southern. But my great-great-great-great-great-grandfather is John Sevier. And my dad was very proud of our heritage here in Tennessee. My sister's middle name is Sevier. So I learned about Tennessee a long time ago, and I got here as fast as I could. And my father passed away about 35 years ago. But I know it is no coincidence. I believe that God has had his hand on my life. And I know my dad is very, very excited about the fact that I work for the governor of Tennessee. I don't believe that was just something that happened. I think that was really God's providence for me. And part of that is that I have had that opportunity and honor to be in this position during this time period, leading up to the Sesquicentennial and during the time. It's so wonderful that Governor Haslam allowed me to stay on in this job, because we'll be able to have the Sesquicentennial commemoration actually happening during this first term and a little bit into the next. And I just have to tell you that it's the most, I've been up here at Long Street, and for that dedication and for a variety of things, was just at Shiloh a week ago. I'm on the Battle of Franklin, board of the Battle of Franklin Trust, because of the Battle of Franklin being so important to Middle Tennessee. And that would not have happened. I would not have asked for permission to do that if I had not been involved with this project and learning about the incredible history of what happened here in Tennessee. It's different than any place else in the world, and that's how I feel about Tennessee. But the fact that the Civil War, what happened here in Tennessee, was so pivotal to what happened across the entire nation. And it's so important for us to be able to tell that story, not just to the visitors that come in. And boy, do I love to see those visitors come in, because they leave money, and they smile when they leave money. And we're happy to have them, and then they go home and you don't have to educate their kids. But what we really love is that our kids, as we develop these celebrations, it's now this battlefield and what's happening here. Your own kids are going to understand. My grandkids who live with me now, they're grown so fast, 12 and 14 now. They understand the Battle of Franklin because I've taken them over to Carton and Carter House. And they're going to be coming up here to walk this battlefield. It's very important to me that they get out and they understand the history of this state. And it's really the history of this nation. And Dr. Acuff, you are such a treasure. I could have sat here and listened for another hour to what you had to tell us. And what she is able to pass down to us today, that's the kind of thing we're now going to be able to pass down to the people who come through and understand what this battle was about and how important it was. And what does it mean to tourism? Well, this is the wonderful part about it. There are a lot of people out there, they call them heritage travelers, and they're interested not just going to Dollywood for a theme park, although they may do that on another trip, but there are people who are very interested in connecting with the history and heritage and culture of the places that they live, that they are visiting, and want to know those people that live there. And those people actually, they stay longer and they spend more money than an average tourist. So just in terms of the kind of environment that you create and the kind of, well, you've got obviously a great big man-made, Bristol Motor Speedway is a very important part of what tourism is in Tennessee. But think about all the people who will be visiting there and make sure that they now stop here in Blountville and find out about what happened here. We started, and I have to give kudos to somebody, I don't know where Lee is sitting, Lee Curtis, right here. She works with me in my department, has been with the Department of Tourist Development for many, many years. And she I don't think I was there for 2 months, and she said, I've got to talk to you about something very seriously. This is back in 2003. I need to tell you about how important it will be for us to be a part of the Civil War Trail, and the Sesquicentennial is going to be coming up. And it starts in 2011, and boy, did that sound like a long way away, but time flies. And she started telling me about this Civil War Trail thing. It was based out of Virginia, and I'm thinking, I don't know, Virginia, you know, Tennesseans like to tell their own history. Well, as I got to know this project and the Civil War Trail, I began to realize it's a 5-state, now 5-state, including Tennessee, consortium, but it really is about Tennesseans telling their history. And that's when I got introduced to Dr. Van West. who again is one of the best treasurers of this entire state and is continually we're having to fend off other states who want him to come and live there and work for them. And Montana is on my list. But he has done so much across the state as far as helping communities find out what their history is, and certainly that would involve the Civil War. Well, I got to know Van, and we started talking about, could we put a working committee together to talk about the Sesquicentennial, and under its auspices, begin to talk with the Civil War Trails program folks over in Charlottesville. And that was the way we approached this. This had to be something that emanated from Tennessee, was vetted by Tennessee historians, so that we felt like that the history of Tennessee was never compromised by some outsider's view of what happened here. And Van became the key person, and later my co-chair of the officially formed Sesquicentennial Commission. And we have some wonderful experts who sit on that commission from across the state. But Van's position was so important because he was already keyed in to all of those wonderful historians in each one of the areas. And he knew who to talk to when we would go into these communities. And Lee was the person who would, and she still is, comes out to the local communities and talks to them about how important this Civil War trail could be for their community. You already have 7 of those, 7 Civil War trail sites in Sullivan County, 5 of them actually at the battlefield. Because actually your whole city is part of that trail. And we have this brochure that we started publishing a couple of years ago because we got involved with the trail program, and we were very, very lucky and gratified that Governor Bredesen, and at that time it was Commissioner Nicely from the Tennessee Department of Transportation, they gave us some dollars that we could use for an enhancement grant that would start the program. And I'm very pleased to tell you that Governor Haslam and Commissioner John Schroer, who was the mayor of Franklin and certainly understands how important historic, just the Civil War is to historic travel, they authorized an additional $818,000 just last year for that Civil War trail program, which enables us then to bring it out to all the communities, and the match is very small then for the local communities. Most of the dollars now come. It's a 4-to-1 match that we were able to use with the enhancement grant to create these trails. We started out with just a couple of sites. We now have 234 sites, interpreted sites, already in the ground, and as you've probably seen many of the ones right here, we have now with this $818,000, we know we'll have the dollars to be able to do another 300 of those sites by the end of the commemoration. And we know that you have other sites that you have got in mind, and I think it makes all the sense in the world. This is, as I told you, we started publishing this 2 years ago, 500,000 of them. I thought, well, that'll carry us for a few years. They were gone in 6 months. That's how many people want to know about what happened here in Tennessee on with regard to Civil War. And we printed another 500,000 of them, and we're already running out of those. So this one was this is a brand new reprinting of it. And we have, we know this one's going to go, especially now as these battles in Tennessee start being commemorated. People are starting, we can't keep them in our welcome centers. This would not have been able to happen also if it wasn't for the great support we've had from the legislature. And I'm going to tell you, Lieutenant Governor Ramsey, from the day I came there, and you weren't even Lieutenant Governor then, but he has always been one of the biggest supporters of tourism. And I know Claudia Moody is one of the reasons why, because you have made it such a, and I see Matt Bolas is here also, and I'm so glad to see you here, Matt, that they have made they want to make sure that they're reporting back to our legislators exactly how important it is and what the dollars are going for. And it's up to $287 million just here in this county, but as far as that's the tourism dollars left here, the direct expenditures. And for the entire state, $1 billion in sales and state and local sales taxes then become available for all the essential services that we need. But I see this is where that wonderful nexus point of love seeing those dollars come in, love the fact we're a solution for job growth, love the fact that we're a solution for just seeing those sales tax dollars. We're not going to have an income tax, and that's one of the reasons why many of us have been moved here or stayed here, as we know that we've got legislators that are going to make sure that does not happen. But we do have a sales tax that is often what it's going to be paying for. All those things are important to us. Tourism provides a lot of those dollars. But here we have an opportunity as tourists come in, and they're going to come for a variety of reasons, but now they're coming to find out about the history. And when you preserve a battlefield, when you preserve a site, when you interpret a site, people come, they stop, and they spend time finding out about that site. And then they're going to spend some time in your town. They're going to maybe have lunch or dinner there. Maybe they're going to spend some time in a hotel that's nearby. Those are all those tourism dollars, but they're related to the fact that you have now shared what you have as far as your history. It really is hard for me sometimes to talk about the Civil War without getting a little emotional, because I've stood in cemeteries now where you see from both sides just the cost of this war. We lost a generation of fathers and sons. It impacted women and the home front as much as it did those men on the battlefield. It changed lives forever. But because of the cost of that, because people were willing to say, this matters to me, they love the land that they are. They love being Tennesseans. I don't care which side of the war you were fighting on. You did it because you loved where you were from, and that mattered. But out of that cost came a nation that then became the superpower that, as Van alluded to, became the superpower that held back the forces in Germany and held back some of the horrible, horrible dictators, and who knows what would have happened to this world if it wasn't for the United States of America being a superpower. That would not have happened if it wasn't for the fact that the Civil War took place, and we resolved at that point that we were going to become one nation under God, indivisible. And that is just something that goes so far beyond tourism, and I love the fact that tourism benefits from this. But it means so much to me because it means that the people of this community have decided they're going to share that story forever. And they're going to share it with people from this community, but they're also going to share it with people who come for a variety of other reasons. So thank you for being here. The fact that you would come here this morning tells me so much about what this community is about and why this is such a successful program. Representative Shipley, this is just awesome. I remember when we were out riding around in your SUV looking at this and came by here and we're talking about this could be happening a year from now. And to see it happen a year later, it's just amazing. Congratulations, and thank you for letting me be a part of it. And I'll be happy to talk about it to everybody and get a lot more people here to share it.
Can you think about the town burning, the women and children running across the street into Browns Meadows, trying to save their lives? And to the men who were killed here, it was their Shiloh. To them, it was their bloody pond. To them, it was their peach orchard. It is for them that we remember them today. This bark means the world to East Tennessee, means the world to this community. And for those of us who have kinfolk that fought in that battle and in that war, it means everything. It really does. What a tribute to a nation that tore itself apart and came back together. The Battle of Blountville. It's our treasure. So, where do you want me to go from here, Sheila? Here?
Yes.
Come up here. My vice chairman is Dennis Hauser. Come up here and join me, Dennis. Come on. Dennis says he don't like to do this sort of thing. He's going to have to. I'm not going to let him. While we're standing here together with the other members of the Park Executive Committee, please stand up. As you'll have to. Ladies and gentlemen, your Executive Committee. Thank you. Go ahead and do this. Go ahead and read it. This is an artistic rendering. Help me, Dennis. Dennis is a Blountville High School graduate. What we're about to show you is an artist's rendering of what's going to be the entrance to the park. And let's just show it to you. Overrunning Confederate gun. That was the pivot point in the battle, and it's quite significant. I thought it was interesting when the artist rendered this, and they put the rock walls in here. Part of the story that you've got to tell. This battle may have happened here, but before they got here, before the Yankees came to Blountville, they were greeted by some of our boys down the road, constantly from behind trees. You know, we're good at that, behind trees and stumps and rock walls, to teach them a lesson before they got here. But anyway, that will be the entrance. It sits right out here at the old sheriff's home, which you see here in the background, and you can get an idea how that's going to be done. So enjoy yourself. And this will be put on display here in the county. It actually talks about the plans for the park, short-range goals, and so on and so forth. It gives you an outline of the historic area of the town. And quite frankly, that whole picture just about represents the area of the battle or area of interest. Does that mean we're going to be getting property? Not necessarily. This battle was fought right straight through town. So we're going to be a little bit different. It's not like Gettysburg or Shiloh where we had all the world's acreage to stand on. This battle came right through town. There's a few open spaces up Muddy Creek, Browns Meadow, but the fighting, except for the cavalry charge up Muddy Creek, took place from about right here to the junior high, right straight through town. So you can imagine, we can't go and acquire that, but we can certainly talk about it, preserve it. We can build sidewalks, put up placards. Our friends from AT&T have the QR codes that you'll be able to take your smartphone, walk up to a place in the battle, snap a picture of that, and then watch it play on your intelligent device. It'll tell you what happened at that spot. So, rather than go into all this in great detail, this will be here for you to review, and we're going to, I guess, put this in the courthouse or someplace for you to watch over the next few weeks to have an idea of the battle. Okay?